Facebook, YouTube, Facebook, YouTube. How y'all doing out there on this beautiful Sunday? I hope you're having an amazing day. Getting ready for the Thanksgiving week. I'm sure many will probably be traveling, preparing to visit family, or just preparing to relax and get a couple days off and get some rest. But either way, I hope everybody out there that'll view this live. I hope that you have a safe week, a great week, and enjoy the time with your family. But this is Coach Jay. I just wanted to come on here and talk about real briefly the power of a field trip, the power of a field trip, and how exposure is one of the greatest gifts that you can give to yourself as an individual, and also to your children if you are a parent. Exposure is one of the greatest gifts that you can give to yourself and to your children if you are a parent. And the reason why I bring this up in light of so much that is going on in our communities, so much that's going on in the world, so many tragedies, so many things going on even in school in terms of bullying. Some schools are back in person. Some may be doing virtual. Parents got to make a decision. We're still unsure about the future and what things will look like in terms of that. So many things is changing with the world of academics. And so I was just sitting here thinking about the power of a field trip, the power of exposure. Being able to give young people hope, being able to give them sight beyond, the area that they live in, the community that they live in, the people that they are typically around each and every day. A lot of people say, a lot of scholars and thought leaders always say, and just common people, if you show me your friends, I can show you your future. And some people just can't afford um, or can't dictate who they are around in terms of who live next to them, uh, who they are exposed to day in their community for whatever reason, whether it's a lack of parenting or a lack of resources in their community. There's some real impoverished communities out there where it's just really not a lot of hope. People are really struggling to make it day to day. And I'm not just beating a drum on that, but there's some real impoverished communities out there with some great children in them, beautiful children in them, beautiful young people that really they can't provide for themselves. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like they somebody has to provide for them. Somebody has to be a role model to them. And unfortunately, it seems as though the things that we would hope that they wouldn't look to um, as want to grow up to be like or want to grow up to be is just so readily prevalent and accessible in their community. There's not a lot of other things to look to. When they go to school, it's so chaotic in their school environment. It's like they're just trying to get through the end of the day. Academics is not on the top of their priority. When they go back to their home, it's chaotic in the home. So, survival is everything. And the people who they see that are, getting money or are able to provide for themselves are the people that are possibly committing crimes or selling drugs, doing robberies, doing burglaries, carjacking, and so that's what they see before them day to day. And so, like somebody like myself or somebody like yourself who was able to look to other things, whether that was an uncle or aunt, to be able to say, hey, this is what you can do with your life. These are the things you can do with your life. Look at this person. Look how they were able to go to the college, or look at this person and look how they were able to go in the military or do XYZ. Those children don't have that. The person they have to look at is like, hey, your uncle did 5 years in prison. Look at him. He got out and he back on the block doing his thing. He got on the designer or whatever, and that's what's before them, right? They're products of their environment, and I would like for them to not be the product of their environment. So how do you remedy that? How do you remedy that? How can we give them hope without just picking them up and putting them in a total another environment? And even if you did that, you still got to challenge the consciousness and the mindset and the trauma that they experience from being raised in that community, because they'll take that mindset to a different community and could possibly spoil that community. And so it's a lot of different angles to look at the change we need to bring in our community. But we can. I believe that we can do it with the power of a field trip. I think we can do it with the power of technology, and to really challenge communities, churches, schools. I remember in high school, we would take, well, not in high school, in like elementary and stuff, take trips to the zoo, the farms and different stuff like that. But I challenge the schools to really take young people on like meaningful field trips, to places that can inspire them, especially those young people that the schools know who live in the impoverished communities. They know who don't have maybe the ability to gain exposure to things like other kids. So do something solid for those individuals and expose them to something greater. Take them, to a college. Take a field trip to a college. Don't let the private schools and the charter schools be the only institutions taking children on field trips like that. Take them to do a survey with the young people, see what it is. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, they do need exposure. Please hit like and share. Do a survey and see what the children like, what they feel like they want to go see, what they feel like they want to be exposed to, and put a trip together and do that. Take them to Delta Airlines and let them see airplanes or see what it's like to be a stewardess, or take them to community college and take them to a 4-year college. But the investment that the system has to make in the people has to change, right? The investment has to change. It can't be the status quo. Talk to them about passports. Help them understand what that means to have a passport. It's so many different things that the school system can do with our young people to get them ready for life. And I don't think we're seizing those opportunities and those moments because we're worried about numbers. We're worried about test scores and things of that nature. And we're just creating robots. We're creating young people who follow, but we're not creating young people who can lead and think beyond the little bubble dots on the standardized test. And I think also for parents, like, it's our responsibility for parents at home that can do it. Like, I'm gonna do it for my child. I'm not gonna depend on the system to do it, but everyone is not like me. Everyone is not in my situation. And those are the people that I feel like the system need to help more. Those students are the students that the system need to aid more in making sure they have what they need to believe in themselves and have hope within themselves that's larger than whatever environment they go home to. We can't change parents. We can't go in and change the home life in terms of where they live. Now, we can give tools to the house if there's issues going on to maybe make things better, but we can't go in and just systematically pull them up and plant them somewhere else. And so, but we can give our young children hope. We can give our teenagers hope, and we can show them hope. Not only give it, but show them. We have to show them, right? We have to show them someone that was in that situation that made it out by doing the right thing, and then tell them what them right things were. Show them what them right things were. And even for adults, like, I'm always inspired when I go see different things. I was fortunate enough to live in Germany for like 3-4 years, and the travel throughout Europe and seeing and mingling with other cultures and nationalities and seeing how they live their life, what their focus is on life, how they balance life, how they approach life. It just opened my eyes to so many things. Like, people are not on this rat race wheel or hamster wheel of life like we are. People, like, they take care of their environment. The grass is green in all neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? They believe in the outdoor spaces. Like even the outdoor spaces are like designed to make you think. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just not a park to just go run around and play. Like they design even in the landscape that makes you think. You know, the architecture, the sculpting. You know, you look at it and you're like, man, okay, you start thinking. Yeah, let your words speak through your actions. Yes, we have to make the investment, the real investment in our young people, whether it's, it ain't necessarily got to be you pack a busload of students up and like physically take them somewhere. Like it's so much you can do with technology to be able to, what I'm saying, call a tech company in San Francisco and say, hey, we got a school here in Texas or Georgia that really kids are interested in tech. Kids are interested in startup. I believe them companies are love to just get on a Zoom call and just speak directly to the class and just, walk them through their company, how they build things, how they design things, to be able to give them hope. Whether it's like, you do a virtual tour of Hollywood or a virtual tour of the Eiffel Tower. So many things that we can do with technology to give our young people hope without having to break the bank. And I really hope that school systems, I hope that parents will begin to look at the power of a field trip. You got Christmas coming up, right? And I'm sure, you want to get your children the latest, greatest this and that, whatever you're able to do. But just think about, just sitting down with them and saying, hey, son, daughter, what do you want to be when you grow up? And let's say one of them say, well, I want to be an engineer. Well, look at a trip you can take your son or daughter on that wants to be an engineer. Look at a trip you can take them on, right? That will, shock the conscience and really like show them creatively what they can be and do as an engineer that will spark their interest. I remember my son really loving Legos, and they had a Lego land in Europe, and we took him to the park, and he was just inspired by all of the designs with the Legos and things like that. Of course, that time in his life has passed, but that's the experience we gave him because that's what he was interested in. If you have a son or daughter that's interested in soccer, you know, pack them up, take them on a trip to a soccer stadium, to see a soccer game. If they have a desire to, be a own property, in real estate, invest, connect them with a real estate agent to at a young age to see what it is to like go out and buy a property. Let them talk to them about flipping property. Like that's where my mind is at, and I believe if we can get our minds there on behalf of our young people, we can really begin to set them up for success beyond the conditions that they live in, because we all have a now, and everybody now looks different. My present now looks different from Tamara, who is tuning in, and her present now look different from my now. But we both have a now, and we both have a future. The way that we go about moving towards our future and destiny may look different, but as long as we're making progress towards that, that's the thing. That's the key. Yeah, start doing that with your nieces and nephews. I've been pondering on this thought for a long time. And I really look at, we look at the inner city uh, populations where the violence is, and you think about crime right now, and from the age of probably 13 to 22, these young kids are committing murders, going to prison for long stretches of time. And it's heartbreaking, and it's always like, what can we do besides gun control? What can we do besides one to, just like change their parents? What can we do? And we gotta exhaust everything if we really want, if we really believe that children are our future. We have to exhaust everything. We have to throw the bank at investing in our young people if we really believe they are the future. Um, and so this is one way that I know that we can bring exposure to those who are not privileged, those who don't have, is use the power of technology, get them connected with mentoring programs, and not, for like large donor. Maybe a large donor will hear this. on social media. You know, it's like the people that have money, they invest in um, like they invest in the people that have nonprofits that already have money. You know, so I want to say to you all, like, look for those like startups that are really trying to impact their community at the grassroots level, and take a chance on 'em. Invest in them. You know, I mean, Usher has a nonprofit. Like I ain't knocking his nonprofit out. I'm sure he's doing great things. I just seen what he had. He got a grant or something for like financial literacy. Like, I mean, does Usher really need? Does he really need any money? You know what I'm saying? What about the nonprofit that's in rural Georgia, rural Alabama, rural Kansas, that's trying to impact the community and they're trying to impact the children in their community where there's not a lot already. Those are the ones who really need it, right? That don't have access, that because of their geographical location, you know, they're already fighting to get above that poverty line just by the way that their demographic area is set up, their geographical area is set up. So I hope somebody will see this and like, hey, go looking for those organizations who really want to make an impact in those rural areas. But we got to give our children more. We got to give our young adults more. Um, you know, and we know that they are on technology. I mean, look how TikTok is going now. You know, look at Facebook, Instagram. They're on the technology, right? We know it's accessible to them at some level. You know, kids will go to McDonald's and get on Wi-Fi if they have to, and so I want to start promoting stuff like that. You know, I may even come on another day and just see if I can find like some sort of tour. I know I was working with a young adult one time, and especially during the pandemic, colleges had started doing virtual tours of campus when students were not allowed on campus, and I thought that was very creative, where you could just do a full virtual tour of a college campus and get inspiration. So you know, the things are out there. We just have to challenge ourselves to think outside of the box and really bring hope to the community. And I want to challenge churches. You know, I see a lot of churches. I'm friends with, you know, leaders on social media, and every summer they go into Six Flags or, you know, this and that, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not speaking against that, but I want you to think about doing something different. You know, sitting down with the young children, the young adults in your church, in your ministry, and say, hey, you know, what would you guys like to go? We want to focus on your future. We want to focus on planning into you all as it relates to your future. What trip can we go on to inspire you to think outside of the box, to inspire you to dream, to inspire you to hope, to inspire you to see beyond your culture and the way that you were raised, and to understand that there's a bigger world outside of your city, outside of your state, and even outside of the country. I wish that we would expose our children to the idea and the possibility outside of the United States. Not for them so much to not love this nation, but to also understand that there's a whole world out there to see, and for them to dream, and for them to touch, and for them to impact, for them to visualize. And if they don't have a visual of it, there's no way they can dream about it. Like, I believe if you give a child a visual, then they can start to dream. Like, that's the nugget for the day. Without a visual, there's no way for me to dream about it. Like that's like the child in the community that's saying that never seen a African American lawyer or African American judge in their community. Like, how can they dream about themselves as an African American being a judge or a lawyer or a doctor or a business owner if the only thing they see is the black drug dealer, the black shooter? You understand what I'm saying? Like, how can they dream? So we gotta yes, so much more to see and do and learn outside of these 50 states. I'm telling you. And there's so many great people in this world that admire America and love Americans, right? And so we have to get back to setting that standard as a people. Um, yeah, so much work to do in that area. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm thankful for the military. It can be very stressful, to be a military spouse and to also be a service member. But sometimes the travel and the moving has really benefited me greatly in terms of my perception, the lens by which I look at life, because I've been able to be embedded in so many different communities amongst so many different people. And I've had to adapt and I've had to adjust. And even my son has had to do the same thing from daycares to schools. You know, he's had to adapt, he's had to adjust. And I think it's made him a better individual, a stronger individual that don't judge and don't see people in a certain framework and in a certain context because of all the people he's been able to be around, the people that he's had the privilege of being exposed to, and have even taught him. And so don't discredit or discard the power of a field trip. Uh, I encourage you to take yourself on a field trip. You know, take that trip you want to inspire you, even if it's going back to school. You know, you feel like you want to go back to school. Well, take that trip down to the community college and walk through that program and be inspired by it. Go see it, go smell it, go touch it so you can be inspired. But again, I challenge our schools, churches, local agencies, mentor programs. Take our young adults and our children on meaningful trips that will inspire them, that will give them hope, that will encourage them to be the best person they can be, to be the greatest individual that they can be, because they deserve a prosperous future. They deserve to have a family. They deserve to have ownership in life, whatever that looked like for them. And we have to be the ones to be able to help them see that, because at their age, they may not be able to see it. And so let's celebrate our young people. Let's give them hope. Let's bring them positive messages and positivity that they can hold on to. And so, you know, I appreciate everybody that's tuned in, everybody that catch the replay. Don't discard the power of a field trip. Again, take yourself on one. You know, go somewhere, be inspired. Read a book, be inspired. Search YouTube, be inspired. When you get on Facebook, I hope you're looking at something that brings you inspiration, that really gets down in your core, that causes you to want to wake up the next day and really get after it. So again, take this holiday week to reset, you know, to re-energize yourself, and think about your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, and what you can do to give back to those young people in your own family, so that they can be inspired. You know, I got to do better at that, you know, myself. So I ain't just preaching to the choir. I'm preaching to myself. I ain't just preaching to the people. I'm preaching to myself as well. I got to do better, you know. So I'm challenging everybody on here to do better for our communities, you know, all of the communities. You know, we got to do better, because, you know, I want to sit back and chill one day without, you know, having to have cameras everywhere. You know, I hope that we can get to that day again. You know, I want to have cameras on every angle of the house, and, you know, 2 or 3 guns laid around, because, you know what I'm saying? You know, because the kids need a little bit of straightening. So yeah, let's pour into our young people. And if you're a parent, your young people at school, get involved with your school. You know, go up there and show your face. Don't just run up there when the child get in trouble and be the loudest one in the room then, but go up there and be the loudest one when ain't nothing going on as it relates to your presence and the help that you can provide to the school. Be involved. You know, be involved in your community. Be involved locally, you know, in your city council. Be involved with the police department, the sheriff department. Be involved, right? We can't make change if we're not involved. So whatever level you want to be involved with and at, please be involved. Please be involved. We the people can change the conditions of this world, right? But we got to take some action. We got to figure out how to get it done. All right. So, man, peace out, Coach Jay. I'm gone. I just want to come on here and share that message with you: the power of a field trip. The power of a field trip. Don't discard the power of a field trip. Man, peace out. Take care of yourself.